Welcome to Golden Nuggets, where truth and wisdom get married and bring forth enlightenment. I want to speak to you today about mental toughness. Today, we are going to explore the essential topic of developing the robustness to manage difficult situations and circumstances. The moment has come for some food for thought and a time of reflection. It is time to elevate and evolve. I am Ezra, A.K.A. the voice of reason. Over and out. Welcome to Golden Nuggets, where you get bite-sized truths in moments of need. And if this is your first time joining us, make sure you hit that subscription button so you are notified when we upload a new video. And today, we're going to be talking about mental toughness, a very important message that we really need to focus on and address, especially in these times that we are living in. And so when we're talking about mental toughness, it's about when you can find fuel in an empty tank. It's in those moments when you are experiencing difficulties. It's when you're tired. It's in those moments when you want to give up the fight, when you want to stop moving forwards. And what you do about it, it's what you tell yourself in those key moments, because they are what make a difference. And when we're talking about mental toughness, there's certain things that should come to mind. Things like resilience, that bounce back ability, your grit, your determination, how you keep pushing forwards, how you are able to, when you feel like you have nothing left, to keep going. Because we often have more than what we think, because our mind and our bodies are not always aligned. It's that perseverance, that ability to keep going and to push through and to make it, to not give up when you're tired, but give up when you're done. And it's that resolve. It's that determination. It's that discipline within your mind where you've set something and anything less than that is not acceptable to you. And so mental toughness is so important. It's what separates, those who are good from the champions. It's what gives people the ability to reach new heights, new lengths, new depths. It's what makes you finish what you started. And so this is something that's so important. The mental toughness, the battles that we faced within our mind, the things that we tell ourselves, whether it is, I can do this, or I'm unable to do it. And so this topic is so essential. Having mental toughness is a key element to you being successful in whatever it is you want to do. Because when you face difficulties, challenges, hurdles, or barriers, it's what you are doing and saying to yourself mentally that will make a big difference in how you respond, react, and overcome it. And so one of the things that I find so important and essential to our success is how we manage our minds, and in particular, our mental health. And it's so interesting because how the world, society, social media, people, individuals see mental health from physical health. So if you go onto Google and you type in physical health, you're going to see things like Usain Bolt finishing the race. You're going to see Arnold Schwarzenegger in the gym looking ripped. You're going to see all of these positive images and examples of physical health. But if you type in mental health, you see people holding their head, people looking really low, maybe anxious, worried, or depressed. And it's amazing how these images, these messages are subconsciously pumped into our minds in terms of how we look at these two. And, you know, if someone is going to the gym, doing yoga, you know, doing things to lose weight or to become more healthy, even if they've got a personal trainer, they have no issue talking about these things. They even promote it and talk about it and say how great it is. But when we are looking at helping to make sure that our mental health is at a right level and is healthy, people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to talk about it's a taboo thing, whether you've got anxiety or you're worried or you've got certain things that you're dealing with. And when it comes to having a mental PT, personal trainer, i.e. coach, therapist, counselor, we dare not mention these things. And so it's really important that we are careful, mindful of how we are processing things, how we see things, and the behaviors that we're operating out of. And that's why I like to call it, whether it's mental fitness, mental toughness, rather than mental health, because there's so much stigma and taboo attached to that wording. But the important thing is that we have to be careful of how we manage this. The mind is the battlefield. Every battle is won or lost first in the mind. The things that you tell yourself are very important because they shape your reality. They determine your decision making. They influence how you behave. They are the precursor to your character. And they are the byproduct of your success or failure. So the question that is very important that you must ask yourself is, what is the message that you are sending out to the universe? What frequencies are you pushing out? What are you telling yourself in the midst of your situations? What's your view on you? How do you either boost yourself up or bring yourself down by your thoughts? How do you see yourself? What are your strengths? Can you name them? What are your areas of development? Do you find it much more easy to talk about those? What do you say about yourself when you make a mistake? Are you critical, self-judgmental, harsh? Or do you have self-compassion? Do you acknowledge that, you know, it's common human, you know, it's a common human experience to make mistakes? What are the things that you are doing? What are the habits that you are operating out of within your mind? Do you see it as I'm possible or it's impossible when you're facing situations? What on a daily basis are you entertaining within your mind with those 60 to 70,000 thoughts that you experience? Are you prone to focus on the negative rather than the positive, or vice versa? What is your message that you are sending out to the universe? Because it will give you that which you have presented it with. And it's very important that we understand this, because we often bury the things that we are worried or anxious about in our subconscious mind. And so we have the conscious and we have the subconscious mind. And Research shows that 90 to 95% of the time we are operating out of our subconscious mind, because our conscious mind can only hold so much information. And we experience thousands upon thousands of different pieces of information from our five senses. And if we had to hold that all in our conscious mind, our mind would explode. And so we have our subconscious mind, which is like the Amazon warehouse. It's this place within us, within our minds, where we hold our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our memories, our habits. And our subconscious mind is the driving force into what we often do. And that's why we do things without thinking about it. That's why you don't have to think about tying your shoelace or what lace to pick first when you're tying your shoelace. You don't have to think about walking. We do it subconsciously, brushing your teeth, all of these things. If you've been driving for a long period of time, driving your car, all of these things our subconscious mind allows us to do. But unfortunately, there can also be mindsets, behaviors, and habits within our subconscious mind that don't serve us because of things that's happened in our past, because of just bad habits that we've kept and held on to. And so it's really important that we learn and become aware of those things within us, the habits, the behaviors, the limiting beliefs, holding on to imposter syndrome, the inner critic, the fear, the worry, the anxiety, the rats, the reoccurring afflicted thoughts, all of these things that play havoc and eat away at our mental toughness. And so for some people, what happens is when they're operating out of their conscious mind, they can be very focused, they can be driven, they can be have attention to detail, they can be really going for it, believing in themselves, giving themselves those affirmations. The difficulty is if their subconscious mind is doing the opposite. And the way how I like to explain it is, imagine if you had two warriors who was going to go to a fight against one another. Both had the same skill, both had the same level of technique, both had the same stamina, strength, build. They were even twins, say identical twins. And imagine if one of them is striking the other one 5 to 10% of the time, and the other one is striking the other one 90 to 95% of the time. Who's going to win? And this is exactly what happens with our conscious and our subconscious mind. So if we are not careful, mindful, and addressing those things within our subconscious mind, where our memories, where our habits are formed and conditioned, then we're fighting a losing battle. And so you might be very positive that 5 and 10% of the time, but you're coming up against those worrying thoughts, the rats, the inner critic, and all of those things that are going on 95% of the time. Now, there is something that you can do to address and deal with this so that we can build our mental toughness. And that is that at 2 points within every day, there is a time where we can actually reprogram our subconscious mind. And that is first thing in the morning and last thing at night. And that is because our mind is in a certain frequency and a space where we are in theta mode. And theta mode allows us to kind of be in like a hypnosis state. So we are able to reprogram our subconscious mind. And that is by giving ourselves affirmations. That is by declaring certain things about how we are going to be. Statements of facts. I am, I can, I will. And so it's really important that in those 2 times, the first thing in the morning and last thing at night, it's important that you set the program that you want to be manifested within your subconscious mind. And this is not something you do once and it changes. It's something you have to do and continuously do. And over time, we will change the narrative within our subconscious mind. And this is key to building your mental toughness. And so it's really important that we understand that our thoughts are determined by the unique lens of our life experiences. And so based on what we have experienced and what we've been through will determine our thoughts. And it can go either way. So some people who've been through really difficult situations and tough times have learned and built and grown resilience and grit. And so they look at life from a certain perspective. I've done this before, I can do this now. And there's other people who will take the other route and be like, that was so difficult, I never want to go through that again. And so they're wary and anxious and doubting themselves and, you know, looking at life from a perspective of it's a scary place. But our thoughts are so essential because thoughts create things. Thoughts are so powerful that they shape your reality. Thoughts, when we think about it, are the very thing that determines our values, our attitudes, and our behaviors. It's what you think about a situation. There's so many people who think they can't do things that they actually can do. And as a result of that thought, their attitude towards that situation, their belief about that situation is greatly altered. And so it's really important that we understand the power of our thoughts. Think about a time when you said, no is not an option. I'm going to do this. And what that did for you. And compare that to a time when you thought you wasn't good enough. You wasn't able. You couldn't do it. What did that do to your energy? What did that do to your belief? What did that do to your behavior concerning that situation? And so we have to understand mental toughness, your ability to push through when you feel there is nothing in the tank is essential. And for anyone who has done physical training or martial arts and stuff like that, to a certain level, you will really understand this, because there's so much times when you think there's nothing left in the tank and you push through and you realize it's like the energy comes back to you because it's mind over matter. And so it's really important that we start to take stock of our thoughts and not allow them to run away like a runaway train, because your thoughts hold power. Your thoughts can give life or zap it away from you. And so we must understand that we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are, from our perspective, based on what we're thinking, based on the lens of our life experiences. And this is why we have to have mental toughness. Because even if something failed last time or didn't work the previous time you did it, or hurt you in the past, that doesn't mean it's going to do that now. And it's when we have to make those courageous decisions, where we have to push through, where we have to try something new and step out of our comfort zones. We need mental toughness to do that. It is something that every single person who is successful has had to learn to develop. They've had to push through the fear. They've had to overcome the anxiety. They've had to break free from their comfort zone. They've had to deal with their limiting beliefs. Because the truth of the matter is, every level in your life will require a new you, a new level of mental toughness. And so we must understand that we are all conditioned to see things a certain way, based on our character, our mindset, our experiences, our fears, our worries, etc. So the question that you need to ask yourself in this time is, what is the lens? What is that contact lens that you put in every morning that determines how you see things? How do you see you? Are you strong? Are you powerful? Are you unstoppable? Are you capable? What is it that you are conditioned by? How do you see yourself? Do you look at when you've got to do something new and feel what? Inadequate, unable, an imposter? Because you're conditioned to see things a certain way. And based on that conditioning, it either limits us or allows us to do all that we were destined to do. With your vision, with your goals, with your purpose, with your desires and your ambitions, what is your attitude towards those things? How do you see those things? Do you always stop yourself? Do you hold back? Do you tell yourself negative things when you think about trying to do something different? Mental toughness. And so it's so important that we start to see ourselves from our potential, from our abilities, from our giftings, from our power, from our, from the things that we can do, rather than the things that we can't. How are you conditioned? This is a question that you need to really think about, mull over, and then make the decisions needed to make the changes where you're doing yourself an injustice, where you are harming yourself by your thoughts. You see, wisdom is avoiding thoughts that weaken us. And so it's really important that you start to pay attention to your thoughts, to how you look at situations, and how you are being conditioned by the things of your past, by the memories that you're holding on to things that happened maybe 1, 2, 5, 10, 15 years ago. It is key for mental toughness. And so it's time to be free. It's time to break free from the chains, from the pains, from the worries and the doubts and the fears of your past. Because we hold on to so many things that we should let go of. The failures that you made, the things that happened. And emotions are often the anchor that keeps us bound to the things of our past. And sometimes we need to break free from those events, from those situations, from those circumstances, from the things, from the mistakes that we made in our past. That was you then, it's not you now. And so if you choose to give up your personal history, and when I say personal history, I'm not talking about everything of your life. I'm talking about those events, those periods, those situations that hold you back, that keep you doubting yourself, that leave you being emotionally traumatized. If we give up on that personal history, then you no longer need to be held captive by its painful grip. And so it's about learning to forgive yourself. Learning to forgive yourself for the mistakes you made, for the things you did or didn't do. And so once we can embrace it, recognize it's there, accept it, it happened, there's nothing I can do to change the past, but then let it go. Let it go. Be free where you are. Tell yourself this is a new chapter in your life. I'm going to do differently. I'm not going to be held bound by the reoccurring afflicting thoughts, the rats. I'm going to make changes in my life. Today is the day where I say yes to being a better version of me. I will do, I will try, I will excel. You start to feed your mind with positive affirmations. I am good enough. I am strong enough. I am able. I am worthy. I can do this. And so that you can start to live the life that you was meant to live, that you can begin to be free, that you can begin to excel, that you can begin to experiment and try new things, live your purpose, be, driven by your why, operate out of your values. It's essential. And I want you to really understand that just like with a balloon, it's not what's outside of you, but it's what's inside of you that counts to help you to reach new heights. It's what's going on in your mind. It's what you're telling yourself every day with those 60 to 70,000 thoughts, 90% of them, which is rumination. And research has shown that for many people, 70% of those thoughts tend to be negative. And if you are thinking on, dwelling upon negative thoughts 70% of the time, what do you think that is going to be doing to your mental toughness? So when a situation arises or circumstances arise, you've already conditioned yourself to look at it from a negative standpoint. And so we must take stock of our thoughts. Your thoughts are powerful and they determine your reality, your destiny, your behavior, your conduct, and your character. You see, reality is created by the mind. And I want us to really understand this. Your reality is created by your mind. And I tell you why I say that. How much times have you worried about stuff, thought something was going to go wrong, and it never happened? But in that moment, the reality for you was that it was going to happen. And so we are the gatekeepers of our reality. How you think on things, what you focus on, is going to create the reality in your mind. You see, when we are at peace, the world is at peace because we create that world, that reality in which we see things. And so it's so important that you invest time in focusing, in being mindful, and nurturing the pattern of thoughts that you want to entertain. Because you are the security guard, you are the gatekeeper, you are the CEO and director of your mind. What you allow to circulate and manifest within there is going to shape the reality of your world. Because we can change our reality by changing our minds. And you've all done this. There's been times where you've been worried about something, anxious about something, concerned, and then you said, enough is enough. I'm just going to do, or I'm not going to worry about this anymore. And you changed your reality because you changed your mind. And so it's so important that we learn to do this in the areas where we have been operating out of limiting beliefs, where we have been downplaying our abilities and our skills, where we have allowed imposter syndrome to make us think we are a phony and a fake and haven't stepped up to the plate in areas that we could do. It's time to change your mind. You need to have mental toughness. And many of the problems that we are experiencing today are fundamentally in our mind. It's what you are saying about the situation. The situation may be very real, but how you are looking at it, what you're saying to yourself, the lens by which you're looking through, is fundamental to the problem you are experiencing. There is so much things that we are capable of doing and have the ability to manage effectively, but we are looking at ourselves from a limited perspective, from what we can't do, and that is what creates the problem. So we must rewrite the reality in our minds. What is something today that you have been allowing to keep you bound, that you've been fearful of, that you've been avoiding, that you've been procrastinating about because of how you are seeing it, because of the reality you've created in your mind? Write a different story today. Write the story from your strengths-based approach, what you can do, what you have the ability to do, and start to execute. Start to operate out of your beast mode, your lion mode. Attack it, address it, overcome it. You have the ability within you, but you have to set the scene and plant the seeds by the thoughts of your positive and your productive and your new reality that you have created. And so one of the things that really helps us to have mental toughness is being able to still, silence, and quiet all of the thoughts, all of the intruding thoughts, all of the voices, the inner critics, the imposter syndrome, the rats, all of these things that seek to just go on and go on and go on in the back of our minds, to bring confusion, to create misunderstandings, to break us out of alignment, mind, body, spirit. And it is in the silence that discovery, awakening, and transformation takes place. And so we have to really work on this. We have to work on this to make this a reality. In a world that is like a rat race, with social media that is putting us left, right, and center, with all of the different opinions and viewpoints and circumstances and situations that will cause for our minds to be busy. We have to learn to silence and still them. And the only way, one of the best ways to do that is mindfulness, because mindfulness will bring you to a place of silence internally once you have dismantled your inner rock band. And that's what all of these thoughts and feelings and emotions are. They're like an inner rock band. And all this stuff is going on and you're trying to concentrate and focus. And mindfulness helps us to bring ourselves back to be aligned, mind, body, and spirit. To not be focused on the future that hasn't happened yet, or be dwelling on the past that has already taken place and we can't change. It was meant to be a lesson, not a prison sentence. And it helps us to be aligned with where we're at now, what's going on, and just being inquisitive and exploring. And with whatever happens, being non-judgmental, accepting things as they are, allowing them to pass. And by doing so, we allow those emotions to flow freely and move on. And in doing so, it's a very powerful tool to build up our mental toughness, because we are aware, we are present, and then we have the ability to deal with and manage situations much more effectively. And so if you don't do it, I encourage you to try it. Just take a moment each day even if it's just a minute, 2 minutes, and ground yourself. Become present again. Give yourself that space that is needed for your mind to be able to still itself. And once you start to do this and you form a habit of doing this, you will see how this will be so powerful in helping you to maintain your focus, to get yourself in the right zone, to be a better version of yourself. And silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. In the silence is where we gain clarity. In the silence is where we understand things better. In the silence is where we're able to reflect and make, connections to things. And this is something that so many people who have been successful have used as a tool to get them into that creative space, to allow them to reflect and look upon things that have happened, or even creative ideas for the future. And so I encourage you to make a habit of making times where you have that silence, that space, to actually allow yourself to become aware, to learn, to grow. Now, one of the things that's really important is that we train our brain. The brain is a muscle, just like every other muscle in our body. And the more that we train it, is the stronger it becomes. That's what we're talking about today, mental toughness. And so, how do you strengthen your brain? How do you strengthen it? Well, the thoughts that you think. So think of it this way. If I go to the gym and I'm using, the dumbbells and I'm using the different machines and I'm doing them all incorrect, although I'm still exercising, I'm actually making it worse for myself. I'm not doing anything that's going to help me to become physically more tough. I could probably end up injuring myself, harming myself. Okay? Well, the same is true when we're thinking about training our brain, because the thoughts that you think train your brain. But if I'm thinking negative thoughts, I'm training my brain to operate in a way, and the end result is harming me. It's hurting me. But when I'm training my brain to think on positive things and to think on the things that I can do and to focus on affirmations and to do those things which strengthens me, it trains my brain so that it can be strong. And I want you to think of it this way. Every thought that you think is a rep. Every single thought that you think is a rep. The question you have to ask yourself is, what are you strengthening by your thoughts? Are you strengthening the mental muscle of fear? Are you strengthening the mental muscle of anxiety? Are you strengthening the mental muscle of possibility? Are you strengthening the mental muscle of affirmations? What are you strengthening? And the more that you do, is the greater the outcome. And so if you want to, on a mental prospect in terms of your mental toughness, if you want to look like this picture, then you need to invest in and do the things, read the books, watch the videos, have the affirmations, speak the things over yourself that's going to build you up in this way. Because willpower is really the power of your will. It's what you choose to do. It's in those moments the attitude, the behavior, and the things that you choose to operate out of is your mental biceps. That is your mental bicep. And it's what you tell yourself in any given situation, because thoughts create things. And so you need to train yourself. In order to have mental toughness, just like to have physical toughness, it is the work you put in, the consistency, the discipline. And so I encourage you to start to become mindful. Be mindful of your thoughts. Be mindful of what you're entertaining. Be mindful of your response internally and what you tell yourself when difficulties, troubles, and situations arise. Because remember, you are always training your brain with the 60 to 70,000 thoughts that you have each day. And attitude makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference in how we deal with situations, especially when things go wrong, you know? And so it determines if we give up or we don't give up. See, fail, it really means first attempt in learning. You see, some people fail and say, right, that's it. You know, I'm not doing that again. I'm not trying that again. But there's others who see it as that's a first attempt in learning. Every champion, was once a contender that refused to give up. And it's not the end. It just means effort never dies. And so when you have that mindset of effort never dies, I can do this. I learned from that last mistake. Now I'm going to do it this way. And no just means next opportunity. When someone tells you no, it just means next opportunity. It doesn't mean give up. It doesn't mean stop trying. It just means next opportunity. But it's about your mindset. It's about your mental toughness. I remember C.T. Fletcher, who was a power lifter, and I remember he had a heart attack or a stroke or something like that. And basically he died 3 times and came back. But the doctor said to him, he would never be able to train again. And he said that was the one thing that he needed to hear to get him back on track. Because at that time, he couldn't even breathe properly. He had to sleep sitting up because they cut a part of his, somewhere within his body, so he couldn't lie down and breathe. He was weak, he was skinny, and the doctor said to him, he'll never be able to lift again. And he said that was the one thing, because he told him no. But to him, because of his mental toughness, it meant next opportunity. This is the challenge I'm going to take. And he got himself back to lifting again. A miracle is what the doctor said. But it was a mindset, a mental toughness. And the mind is so powerful, but yet like water, which is so powerful. Because when it is turbulent, when it's moving around, when we have all these thoughts going on, when we don't have mental clarity, when we have the war within and we're battling with ourselves and all of the thoughts are going on and the inner critic and the rats and all of this stuff is happening, it's difficult to see. Just like water when it's turbulent, you can't see through it. But when it is calm, when we are calm, everything becomes clearer. The way becomes clear. And so mental toughness is about when in the midst of situations, being able to remain calm, know your plan of action, know what you're going to execute in, and follow through. And so this leads me on to power thinking. You see, when we are in the midst of a situation or circumstance, often we allow that circumstance to crush us. But when we have power thinking, we crush that situation. We address it, we overcome it, we conquer it. And the way that we are able to do that and the way that we develop our power thinking is by becoming disciplined and mentally rehearsing the actions that you want in your life. The term for this is often called visualization. And this is something that has been used for many years, has so much research behind it. And it's something that many successful people has quoted as part of what created their success. And so I encourage you to begin to visualize and to use this to create power thinking, to build your mental fortitude. Because research has shown that when you visualize something, there is something that takes place in the brain known as neuroplasticity. And what you are doing is actually reshaping and rebuilding the neural pathways within your mind, and that they are being influenced as in the same way as if you actually did the activity. There is no difference to how the brain is changed from when you visualize to when you actually do the task. And so in order to build mental fortitude, it's vital that you put in the mental training, that as you visualize, you are actually training the brain to think a certain way in line with what you want to achieve. So that when you actually go forward and do it, you have already practiced that however many times you did it through visualization. So it might be the first time you're physically doing it, but mentally it's the 20th, 30th, 40th, 50th time. And that's what brings results. That's why so many people have been able to break world records. That's why so much people have been able to achieve so much in their business, in their health, in their finances. And so I encourage you to engage in the art of power thinking through visualization. And I think it's important to understand at this point that it's a journey of learning. So wherever you're at, you might be someone who struggles with this topic. You might be someone who's excelling in this topic, but wherever you are, it's a journey of learning. And there's two key points. The first one is where you currently are. And that's mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, socially, in all areas of your life. Wherever you are at right now, it's important to know that and to understand that within yourself. And the second point is where you want to go. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to change? What do you want to do? And then it's about increasing your level of awareness. And so you might be someone who struggles with limiting beliefs and you want to get to a place where that's no longer happening and you have this mental fortitude and you have, positive thoughts. And so it's about then recognizing what are the things that you're going to let go of? What are the things that you're going to start doing? Where are you going to put in that training mentally, physically? What are you going to start saying to yourself? How are you going to set your day with intention? Who are the people that you need to stop engaging with because they fuel certain behaviors and habits that you don't feel are beneficial? It's very key and very important that you do a mental inventory about where you currently are in the different aspects of your life and where you want to go. And then what is needed to get you to that place. And as you do that, and as you take those steps, and as you put in the work, and as you change your reality by your thoughts, you will build yourself up and that you will begin to have mental toughness. And the last point I just want to say and touch on is the mind is the greatest power in all creation. and your mind is included in that. They are still trying to make computers to mimic how the brain works. The brain is so powerful. There is nothing like it. Your thoughts have the power to create things. You see, we are made from the same ingredients as the universe. And because of that, like attracts like. When we think about something, we are sending out signals to the universe, and the universe picks it up. Just like a mother or a father picks up the messages that a child sends to them. And it will then manifest those thoughts in your life. And so it's really important that you choose your thoughts wisely. Because your thoughts not only determines what the universe does, but it determines what you do. It determines how you think. It determines how you behave. It determines the beliefs that you hold. It determines the values that you entertain. And so I encourage you, begin to use your mind to empower you to be and do all that you desire to do. And remember that every thought that you think is a rep that is building you up in a certain frame of mind and is causing you to operate out of a certain lens. And it will make you also be able to do or not do based on the reality that you have created via your thoughts. So I want to encourage you to grow in mental toughness and know that you are the only person who has the final say in what you do, who you become, and how you live your life. So operate out of mental toughness and do those things that you've always wanted to do because you're capable, you're able, and you are phenomenal. So if you like this video, I encourage you to look on my YouTube channel because I have an abundance of videos dedicated to supporting and empowering you. And don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it brought you some mental clarity and insight. Leave a comment and let me know one nugget that you will take away from this session. And share this video with your friends and your loved ones that you know need to hear this. And check out my YouTube channel for more videos dedicated to supporting and empowering you. And remember to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit that notification bell, as this is me calling you for our next one-to-one. So as always, stay blessed, remain grateful, and manifest your greatness.